Every single type of writing presents a different challenge. When I look at my writing when I was like 6 or 7, it didn't make any sense. Doing things like that were wrong, but they were exploratory and good.
When you're young, you have like loads of different paths and loads of different things you can do and lots of potential, and then you experiment, you learn, and you narrow down.
As you build up your life experience and stuff like that, you start to want to write it down. You become a better writer because of that experience. The amount of focus in the world is limited.
Now everyone has access to stories everywhere, wherever they are, all the time. They're getting their fill of stories. They're not necessarily doing creative writing.
It's still relevant, it's still important, but it's in danger of
extinction.
The Education Lounge podcast.
Okay, we've made it to our 50th episode.
Yeah.
Didn't
know we'd get there, but
yeah, well, we're here. So today we're going to look at writing. Now, I know we did an episode on writing last year, I believe, on whether it's still important or not. So we're going to revisit that topic, but we're going to look at it more in terms of, well, it obviously is still important, but also where has it gone?
Yeah, and there's more of a focus on the creative writing aspect.
So where has it gone?
Well,
is it still here?
It's I think just about.
Okay, where would you find it if you were looking for it?
Well, we still obviously in school and universities and places like that, we still write, and we write quite often. With the advent of AI, people are writing less, as they're relying on these large language models.
It took you less than a minute to talk about AI.
No, but it was obviously coming. People are outsourcing more writing to these tools. Funnily enough, I think there's an explosion in terms of the amount of publishing that's going on. So more and more content being created.
You think that's because of
partially driven by that, but I think it's also just platform explosion. So
okay,
things like Reddit. I'm broadening the idea of writing out quite a lot.
Does Reddit count as creative writing? I don't know.
Sort of. I mean, it still is writing.
There's some creative stuff on.
Yeah. I'm sure like most of the stories made up.
Yeah.
And there's some creative writing going on there, like some artistic license.
Yeah.
So
a lot.
So I do think it's still relevant, it's still important, but it's in danger of
extinction.
Yeah.
I think it's been a long time coming. I think it's been gradual, pretty much over our specific millennial lifetime. You think about, video games, for example. It's more, I think my theory is more, where do people get their stories from? Playing a story game like GTA or Red Dead or something like that, or the explosion of online streaming. Because before, obviously, it would be like you get a DVD or whatever it is, and you'd have that. But now everyone has access to stories everywhere, wherever they are, all the time, and in loads of different formats, whether it's gaming or audiobooks or reading. TV shows, movies, stories from other people on YouTube. They're getting their fill of stories. They're not necessarily doing creative writing.
You're saying reading's going down, are you? Like, because
well, I can tell you, reading. Yeah, I mean it is. We did an episode of reading as well.
Yeah.
Reading enjoyment, 32.7% of people. Daily reading, 18.7% of people. I think this is world. Is that worldwide or UK? It might be UK.
That's quite low.
Yeah, it is quite low. So 1 in 3. So 32.7% of 8 to 18-year-olds enjoy reading in free time. 1 in 5 which is 18.7%, read daily. Yeah, and then 1 in 4, roughly, so 26.6% of 8 to 18-year-olds enjoy writing, and 1 in 10, so about 10%, 10.4%, write daily in their free time. That's more than I would have thought. I'm surprised that just over 10% write daily in their free time.
What's the definition for writing in this regard? What's the...
That's a good point. I mean, I think...
Because it depends what you consider writing.
I would
to be.
assume, based on the research that we did, it's based on creative writing. But...
You could... Well, you can argue loads of
Hang
things.
on. If it's writing in your free time, then that's not work. That's not emails or whatever else. That's free time. Now, that might be journaling, it might be diary, it might be writing a book. We don't know.
Writing a post. Because that
There's
might
a
not
lot
be
of grey
considered work.
areas in this, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I mean, people did originally at least use Twitter for creative writing to see, there's things like, can you get a story in 140 characters? That's a creative task.
No, yeah. I'd count that as writing.
Yeah.
Even though it might
So-
seem like writing a story in a limited amount of words or characters or whatever is
It's a challenge.
yeah, it's a difficult creative writing task.
Yeah. I've been watching Taskmaster recently, and one of the tasks was to write a 10-word story describing your life from when you were born to where you are now. 10 words. That was
six word stories, like the sort of traditional idea. I think is only
6 words. Why 6 words?
I think it's something to do with Ernest Hemingway. So there's this legend that essentially he wrote a 6-word story, which was baby shoes for sale, never worn.
Well,
or something like that. But I don't know whether it's actually him. Like it's more of a legend. Legend states.
So, how similar is that to like a haiku or a limerick or something? Because
It's very similar. Haikus are obviously you have the sets of 5, 7, and 5 syllables. They tend to be about nature, and they can be combined together. So you've got like one verse of one haiku verse, another haiku verse.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Maybe we can after we've recorded this find one to just like put somewhere here.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can find something to explain what a haiku is.
And I think in Japanese it might be more challenging actually because they've got a lot of syllables in each word.
That's
like,
true. I've only ever heard them in English.
Like when you say like hello, it's like hajime mashite. That's a lot of syllables.
I thought it was konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Oh yeah, konnichiwa. Yeah.
There's still 4 syllables.
Nice to meet you is hajime mashite, and konnichiwa is.
Does the pattern still stay the same if you do it in Japanese?
Yeah, the haiku is Japanese.
Yeah, I know.
So
but
yeah,
I don't know. I've never heard it in Japanese. I've only ever heard it.
Yeah, that's where I think that's why they do it, because in Japanese, it's quite a beautiful language with short. These long words.
Is there equivalent
and I think
of a
it's more
6-word story?
I think it's more challenging in Japanese.
Yeah, is there equivalent of a 6-word story?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Japanese also is quite difficult because the grammar's quite complicated, so the endings of the words change, and that makes it more.
I've not really looked into Japanese, but
I did for a while. But yeah, it's hard to. It's quite a difficult language. Probably the hardest that I've tried to learn.
So we were speaking about talking on or writing on things like Twitter and social media posts, and whether basically what medium would you say is creative writing and what isn't? Is everything?
I think I've come to the conclusion that it is everything. Every single type of writing presents a different challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like writing a good email is no less a valuable skill than writing a story.
It's probably arguably more valuable nowadays.
Both are useful, and both are, but I mean, depends what you mean by valuable.
In the working world, you're
Um,
going to be doing that a lot more than writing a story.
there's very few people who can write a good email. I'd say.
But it's also intent. What's the purpose? Are you trying to persuade? Are you trying to sell? Are you giving information? Are you having a informal conversation? Are you relaying information to your accountant? Or what are you doing? So yeah, it does depend who you're writing for. What's the intent? Because that will determine whether it's formal, informal, all sorts of things. I mean, back to the AI thing, I have like things like Grammarly installed or Apple Intelligence or whatever on my email app. So I'll write it out and then
I'm not fond of some of the alterations that it makes.
I don't agree with all of them. No, I don't use all of them. But now when I try and reply to an email, usually the Apple stuff gives you the two options, like yes or no. So if someone asks you a question, you can click yes and it will generate the answer automatically for you. So rather than me writing it and it adjusting it, now it writes it and I adjust it.
But doesn't it take away your thought? Not in the sense.
No, because I know what my answer to the question is. It's usually, I only use it for small things, like you get an email that says, can you provide information, like from the account, can you provide information about your accounts from blah, 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 to blah, blah, blah. You can press, you press yes or no. No comes up with like, no, I don't have these available, whatever. Yes says something like, yes, I'll send them through shortly.
Yeah.
So when it's like a full on, I'm talking to a new client, explaining what their classes are, booking them, that sort of stuff, I would write that.
Yeah. Sometimes I get it to rephrase what I've said slightly to
so
make it a certain way. But I like to write a lot of it first time on my own, so I get a good...
I don't know, I've seen your ChatGPT searches.
Yeah.
I've seen the emails. You can tell, especially when they come through and you've got like an M dash or...
I like M dashes, and then ChatGPT's ruined it for me.
I hate them now.
No, because M dashes are absolutely brilliant form of punctuation. Quite old fashioned, really. And now I feel it overuses it a little bit. But
it's one of the telltale signs that you've used.
I don't really like, to be honest, most of the time M dashes are the right form of punctuation.
I just flat out refuse to use them now because they're just everywhere.
They're like semicolons, but more usable and better in, if you want to sort of create a bit of suspense or something like that, then they're better. So they're typically used more in fiction than non-fiction, which is why they work well in things like blogs. They work well in things like copy.
Well, this brings us back to the whole what medium is being used at the moment, because it's kind of a different form of writing. So you imagine going from writing by hand, which we used to do at school. Say you had to imagine writing a novel by hand. If you have mistakes, you have to, or like a typewriter.
Yeah. Like Wednesday. I don't know if you...
Yeah. It's interesting. You know why the QWERTY keyboard, you know why it is set up the way that it is? People used to think it was to do with the letters being close to what you actually type. It's set up so that the arms of a typewriter don't cross over each other.
Makes a lot of sense.
So wisdom, people, they tried switching it back to ABCD and nobody could use it. So they went back to QWERTY, and that's why we still have it.
But I don't think the ABCD would work very well.
Doesn't matter.
It's not.
Yeah, but that's only because you're used to QWERTY.
I don't know. I'm not very used to the alphabet, but it doesn't make, like, ordering it by ABCD doesn't make sense. It makes sense to order it by letters most used, and in a way that's like, it makes sense to put vowels on one side and then
because then you're constantly going to be going over to one side.
No, but you can type.
It's just because it's what you're used to. Like, for example, James had a guy from Forest episode, the second episode, up there, link somewhere. He started using a Polish keyboard when he was living in Poland, and he started getting used to that, and then he went back to QWERTY and he couldn't do it. So it's just what you're used to. We've just
True.
had decades and decades, and I don't know how old are typewriters. Not centuries, are they? No, decades. Then we've had decades of QWERTY keyboards. Back to the medium thing. Let's list them off. So we said socials posts, we said Twitter and all that sort of stuff. Blogs, where you're writing for.
Yeah.
You do blogs, I do blogs. What you're writing for?
Well, it depends, because you can be doing reflective blogs, you can be doing blogs for your own enjoyment, you can be doing blogs that are geared towards marketing, and all of them
to websites.
Yeah, all of them will have different sort of approaches and ways that you'd
different approaches, but same medium.
Yeah.
And you also have more things to think about. You have to think about imagery and, SEO tags and
things. Yeah.
Things that you wouldn't have to do when you're writing by hand.
It depends of what you're aiming for with your blog. If you're aiming for a large number of impressions and great amount of reach, then you need to think a lot more about SEO. But I think for the average person who just wants to blog about something they're interested in, they're using it as a sort of store of information in a sense.
It's kind of like a long form Twitter for some people.
Yeah, they don't really need to think about that, and that's actually quite liberating, not to think about
the constraints.
Because when you're thinking all the time about the reader and you're not writing as much for yourself, it can be.
I found that.
Yeah. But I think because as the internet's changed, informational posts are less useful in a way. So you're looking for more of that personal insight and actually putting your own personal tone into what you're writing is.
Well, it's again back to the AI thing, because the more you have AI writing and stuff like that, the more valuable something like a spelling mistake from a human becomes, because it's had somebody that's.
I wouldn't say valuable. It's more. I don't know.
Real.
I'd never
it's more
consider
real.
that. I still wouldn't consider it valuable. I think getting your spelling right isn't.
But it's more real, is my point.
But no,
I can tell that as a human has actually sat and thought about what to say, rather than their virtual assistant talking to my virtual assistant or whatever it is.
But it's also because the chatbot or whatever doesn't have personal experiences.
Yeah, that's my point.
So, no, but the whole mistake thing, I think, so ruling out as many mistakes as you can in your writing is probably a good thing.
I know. I'm saying that it's a giveaway that a human has written it. Is my point.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it offers more value necessarily.
No. It's
the
like
value is subjective.
You're not done music production before, have you?
Not
so
really.
In music production, say you've got like a hi-hat every beat, and you put it into your DAW, your digital audio workspace window, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
When they're all exactly like 100 in terms of volume, is the equivalent of like an AI writing. It's very
samey,
robotic and samey. So you can put in plugins that have like randomizer, so that it randomizes the velocity of the hi-hats to make it sound more human.
Yeah.
I think that's going to become a thing in AI writing, where they purposely make it a bit less perfect to make it more real.
Anything but perfect. I think they're already doing that, because you can see it because we've got Pro GPT, we're using it a fair bit, and I can see the personality in a sense.
I found it when you talk to it, because there's like little giggles and ums and ahs that they've put in. It's kind of a bit creepy, but also it's more real if you listen to it, but it makes me feel weirder about it because I know that someone's programmed that in.
Yeah.
So
AI. Well, we've gone back onto
any other mediums? Do you want to go on to like talking about books, games, audiobooks, all that?
I was thinking about pens and pencils as well, as opposed to typing, because I think
I've started to really prefer that. Well, for certain things. If I'm doing
Yes.
like a to-do list or diary entry or journaling or any of that sort of stuff, I like a nice pen and a nice book.
When it comes to learning, because obviously we work in education, there is a big advantage to writing with a pen or pencil over
Goes in.
typing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it is sort of strange in a sense, because everything in our lives, we say in business or whatever, you're always thinking in terms of efficiency,
Mm.
but that's not how the brain works. So
Well, that kind of does, but
no, but in terms of, you'd think if you were typing something and you were able to get, let's say, better quality notes and write more information quickly, that would be better for learning and that would be better for retaining stuff. But that's not how the brain works.
yeah.
Even if you have handwritten notes that are poor quality, they will always surpass
Yeah. Yeah.
typed notes. Like, they've done quite a lot of studies on this, and they've shown that if you write,
You absorb it more.
yeah, even if you write 75% more typed, you have an enhanced performance in things like
Yeah.
test situations.
I can write so much more typed than I can by hand.
Mm-hmm.
To write by hand takes me a long time. Typing I can do without looking at
But
the keyboard.
that's why writing's better, like physically. That's why children should learn how to write, no matter what, because, and also in terms of language acquisition, it happens quicker if
you're forming the actual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because the concentration required to do that, you know how they say as neurons fire,
Neurons will fire together, wire together.
Yeah. Because you've got more neurons activating when you're writing, because it's more
There's more things to
intensive.
actually do. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually remember what you write down much better.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd think, so the way you typically think is that, okay, well, if I'm typing and I can write something better quality, that allows my brain, that frees up space for my brain to remember more. But that's not how, it's kind of counterintuitive.
Well, that's not
what you-
quality. That's quantity.
But even if it was better quality, even if your notes are better quality and have more information in there,
Yeah.
you retain so much less than if you'd written 20% of what you typed,
Mm-hmm.
you'd retain more from what you write.
Yeah.
So even when I was learning Mandarin, I'd write down, I'd concentrate on writing words. I wouldn't type stuff, and I was like, typing is kind of useless for language learning, because you're not, you get to learn how to use the keyboard and stuff like that, but you really don't remember stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a tip for any students.
We're gonna come on to some tips a little bit later on. We can look at we mentioned gaming and other things
Mm-hmm.
in terms of less about writing and more where people are getting their stories from.
Yeah.
Do you think that the fact that everyone has tons of stories basically in their pocket in several different mediums is part of the reason why people are writing less? So before you answer, let me give you a couple of examples or stats, right? Do you know how many age 11 people, age 11 kids have mobile phones?
A lot.
It's a percentage.
60%.
91.
That's a lot. That's a lot more than I thought. Although, wait, usually they get them. So these are
Secondary school?
people going into secondary school. Yeah, I'd probably expect them to have them.
Okay, what about 5 to 7 year olds for smartphones specifically?
50.
1 in 4. Which is still mad,
Alright.
really.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know if I agree with it.
No, I mean, I don't. I know a year 9 student that comes here that doesn't, the mum and dad don't give her a phone.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's hard for a teenager, it's difficult, because if their
Their social group or peers are on there then.
yeah, It can be a little
The
isolating.
thing is, I got a phone when I went to secondary school, but it obviously wasn't a smartphone.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have all of the videos and games and all that stuff.
Imagine if you could only communicate with your friends via fax. Send me a fax. I get it.
Yeah. It's probably, well, it's better for you. Definitely. Yeah, so that's the mobile phone ownership. About gaming, I'm just going to do some of these stats. How many, so we've got 8 to 17-year-olds in the UK specifically. 97% of them game.
It certainly is a big thing now.
So do you think, and then a couple more things actually. Broadcast TV, 4 to 15-year-olds. They are 3 hours and 20 minutes a week roughly watching broadcast TV, which
Okay.
before all these things
It was
would have been a lot more, but it would have been the only thing. And then going up into 25 to 44-year-olds, they 25 to 30% watch podcasts weekly. So
it's a source of information.
do you think there's
isn't it?
a correlation and or causation between the number of different mediums that give us stories and the amount of stories that we're actually writing?
Yeah, it would be as in it will be inverse, wouldn't it? So as you, if you've got things competing for your attention, because that's what it boils down to. Like, the amount of focus in the world is limited, and the amount of attention in the world is limited. But as you have more things competing for that focus and attention, then the number of forms of entertainment rise, but then some of those other forms will decrease, especially the ones that were more prevalent before.
But then there will be people making this stuff as well.
Yeah, but then they can't.
They won't all be professionals.
Would
Like,
you-
they won't all be like a Netflix, a BBC or whatever. We do stuff on here.
Mhm.
We have to kind of storytell for some of the stuff. Like one of the last videos that we did a whole,
Yeah,
there's like a storyline to it. So do you think writing is going in other places instead? For specifically people that are, not writing for the BBC or writing for Netflix or whatever, like people like us?
I don't know if are people on average writing more. I really don't think that's the case. I think as other forms of media crowd out that, I mean, it's a form of entertainment at the most basic level.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's other ways to do that, then people are going to do more of that thing, especially if it gains algorithmic traction. If you change the algorithm, so on all of these platforms, so that somehow writing becomes the most profitable form of content production and the most loved and liked, then, and the most pushed, then you could
It won't, will
influence
it?
it. Yeah,
Because
no.
I'm not going to go over again, but there are tools that can do that stuff for you now. So
But it doesn't, it replaces it in terms of what's out there, but it doesn't replace really what it does for you, which is strengthen those neural connections, and like all the benefits of writing far outweigh the benefits of doing anything else.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Let's talk about writing at school, given what we do here.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done a lot of GCSE English teaching.
Yeah. From an educational perspective, you've always got to think about what you should do. What should we be pushing in education? And I think sometimes we jump the gun and we think, okay, we're going to give loads of technology to schools. And that's the way forward, because that's how the world works. But I believe that some analog ways of doing things are just intrinsically better than these digital ways of doing things.
Yeah.
So, like I said, typing does not replace writing.
There are some things that I think are useful. So if you think about the VR stuff, for example, if you put on a VR headset and you can see, like, I don't know, the biology of how a human nervous system works, or mechanically how an engine is
Yeah.
put together, like in front of you on this table,
Mm-hmm.
or walking with dinosaurs, or so, that sort of stuff. That I can see that being valuable, but I agree. It's not going to outweigh.
Oh, I think it's inspiring, as in it can certainly inspire
But I also,
children because they see it in 3D and
it's all very immersive. But I also think that is one of the reasons that people's imaginations have just disappeared. You try and get one of the kids to write a story here,
and struggle.
and it's literally that they can't think of anything. I don't think that was the case 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago.
If you think about that VR example,
Mm.
so that imagine you could explore the lungs and you're like a person walking through the lungs and all that. That might be very immersive. But if you were to draw a detailed diagram of those lungs, where do you think you'd learn more? Like actually.
You mean if
learn
they were to
more?
draw it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
If they were to draw it out like that.
But with it, again, with this stuff, I always think is very much like a mixture. So watching that, then doing the drawing thing, maximum effect.
Or write more because it's more effective.
It depends on what the task is. We're talking
Yeah.
about the lung thing. Writing about the lungs is not the same as watching and drawing them.
No, it's true.
Depends what the purpose is.
Yeah.
The holistic approach with some of the video, some of the immersive stuff, some of the drawing, some of the writing is
no, but
the best way to learn.
This conflicts with what we've said earlier. I remember we did that podcast on sort of learning styles.
Learning styles are a myth, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't actually make sense to mix the ways that you experience things because there's one thing for that. There's one specific way to get good at.
Okay, for this learning about the lungs example.
Well, you'd have to do some research into what was the most effective way to.
Well, no, what do you think it is?
I think drawing diagrams of things is pretty effective for learning biology.
Yeah, but I also think seeing an animation of it and then drawing it will be more effective.
I think animations are very effective when you have when you've got a conceptual limit.
Yeah, but you're not going to draw the lungs without knowing what they look like, are you? Otherwise, you're going to be learning.
No, you'd have to look at a.
That's what I mean. That's what I said. Yeah. So you look at the thing first, and then you draw it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of both, isn't there? So some level of kinesthetic stuff, but VR is really exciting in that way. And so are these like AI worlds. You could like create literally anything, but it does somewhat worry me because I think the tendency for humanity is to go with
path of least resistance.
Yes.
Same as neural pathways, same as mammals in general.
But that is not how you should educate people.
No, you need some sort of adversity.
Yeah.
In order to
grow. It's a bit like a lot of parents say, oh no, you can't, just don't like writing. They know deep inside we have to get them to write.
Yeah. I didn't like writing either.
Yeah.
I had to do it, but I never liked it.
But even though it's hard to do and people don't like doing it, it doesn't mean that you should avoid it. It means it's something to actually double down on and try to.
But you can also learn to like it. I made myself like it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to change your attitude towards this.
Same with reading. I was never a big reader, writer.
Mm-hmm.
I was very much like, I want to build a thing or I do some music or whatever it is. But I've had to teach myself to learn to enjoy.
Yeah, enjoyment isn't the. It sounds bad, but I think if you approach everything in education, so you only do what you enjoy.
Well, then you're not really.
You can't grow.
The things that you enjoy, and especially children, are generally the things you're already good at.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's only because you feel good doing them, because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know, you can do them already, you can meet other people, whatever it is.
Or it gives you dopamine hit.
That's what I mean, yeah.
In which case, you just have classrooms of people on Instagram scrolling. Like, what people enjoy is not what gives them the most benefit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, writing's one of those things. It can be, it's laborious for some people who don't take to it well. Sometimes I don't feel like writing something, but I have to like get myself to write it. And sometimes it can be about being in the wrong environment.
You'll say the environment will be the
I struggle if anything's happening around me, I really struggle to actually write almost anything. Like, I need to really block it out completely to get into a writing mode. I think that's one of the things in this world as well. The amount of distraction.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse.
You've got to create a space for yourself. And it can be quite difficult. I understand in school and stuff like that as well, it's not always the best environment and children are trying to write. I mean, they've got like this person playing with that or whatever and running around and shouting and that kind of thing. They're going to struggle to focus and write. So children need the right environment in which to excel.
I think also, environment, routine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm in this place, therefore I'm doing this. There's that whole, what was it, walking through a doorway resets your, what is it?
Oh, it sort of resets your it creates it's a different frame, isn't it? So as you walk through a door, your perception of everything changes, and then
It sort of resets a little bit, yeah.
So a lot of the time when you walk if you walk from one room to another, you
forget what you were going in there for.
Yeah, like going I always do that between the kitchen and the living room or whatever. I walk from the living room trying to get something from the kitchen, and I forget why I'm in the kitchen.
You should knock down the walls, that won't happen anymore.
Open plan.
That's what. So should we move on to how we can maybe improve these things for children and adults too?
When I was writing the most, it went back into what you were saying about setting a routine. So
you were going to a coffee place on a Friday. Is that what you're going to talk about?
Well, with blogs, I did that.
Yeah.
And I went to the same one. That's also, I think, having a predictable environment.
Yeah, because it triggers other things. You know, that site, that coffee, that seat triggers you to also think, I should be writing now.
That's why I'd encourage, like, for instance, parents to create a place for play, create a place for study, create a place for reading, like a reading corner and that sort of thing. Because the environment in which you surround yourself with dictates how you react. So with blogging, I did that. But when I was at university, I did a number of things. I joined a writing society. And that was good because it opens your mind and you hear other people's writing, which helps improve your own. And I also attended, like, say, poetry slams and that sort of thing. So listen to people from around the country and from abroad and how they approach writing. What I also did was, say, I was writing 2 novels at one point, and in order to get those novels completed, still unpublished, like I haven't, like, they're not very good. I woke up at 6 in the morning every day, and I wrote for an hour, and I could write up to about 1,000 words, roughly. And you're just thinking about that word count, to be honest. So setting targets for your writing can be a good thing.
So goals and targets is same as anything you want to achieve.
But it was just this need, I don't know, inside me to write something.
But not everybody has that.
Yeah. You need to figure out. I think that's if you're really, really serious about developing writing, you want to have something deeper inside you, or you want to express yourself in some way, and you're not able to, and that's why writing works for me.
Well, it's the same as the whole journaling thing, isn't it? You just write what's on your mind, or even if you can't think about what to write, like a technique is like just writing, I don't know what to write, and just keep doing that, and then stuff will start to come out. So that's another tip for non-writers to start just by doing that. I want to just talk about something you said. You said you started 2 novels, they're unpublished, and you said they're not very good.
Yeah.
So this comes back to getting the whole practice makes perfect thing. A lot of people will start to write, especially children, realize that it's not good and then not do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely maybe they've got some potential, but
you've got to get through that much
yeah, like as in the first novel was definitely weaker than the second novel. So
you'd expect.
So maybe my third one will be amazing, but you still need a story that you really want to write. And I had those stories back then, and I'd say, in some ways, writing's sometimes a young man's game, in that because your creative juices are flowing and you've got the time, mental space to actually be creative. And I'd say at university I had that. But it's also, I've noticed, an old person's face. So as you get older, as you build up your life experience and stuff like that, you start to want to write it down, and you'll become a better writer because of that experience. One thing that prevents a lot of younger people from, I'd say, like specifically in 11 plus, is their range of experience. So something that can really limit, even if they could be so intelligent and stuff like that. Writing is the sum. It's the sum of your experiences and exposures, and there's no better way to work out how much you know than write. The more you know, the better you'll be able to write. Which is why I'd always encourage parents to give their children wide experiences, be exposed to a wide range of vocabulary, use words in different ways,
environments, people. Yeah.
There's
a couple of things on here that we can talk about. So these, in terms of tips of helping people to start writing. So here, there's the task for years 4 to 6 or primary school, and it's based on giving a constraint. Because tasks are generally easier when there's some sort of parameter or parameters. If it's an open-ended, because you get a mixture, don't you? You get like, write about this thing that with this character and whatever else, or you get a title, like write a story titled The Key, go. Like, which one's easier? Yeah. The constraint, 1 image, 3 nouns, 1 feeling. That's 1. You've got years 7 to 9, like Key Stage 3, 2 viewpoints of the same scene, 50 to 70 words each. So you're thinking from other people's perspective as well. GCSE, I mean, is more complex.
They've done they've changed the English language creative writing slightly, in that they're trying to make it so they typically did an image. One of the tasks was an image, and they said write an image based on the picture, and now they've broadened it. So it doesn't need to. So they've added an extra line, which is like, it doesn't need to be completely based on the picture completely. They've made it broader, just to cover, because I think a lot of people would struggle with that. Like, if they got a picture that they didn't like, then
it's usually a choice. I mean, in the actual exam to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there's 2. So, but I think it could make it harder for some people because if you broaden their choices, they
That's what I mean. I think
struggle more with it.
more tighter parameters make something easier to do.
But you also could, and also another thing they've done is that the story doesn't need to be complete. So it
Why
doesn't
is
need to
that?
resolve. It can be like the opening chapter to a book or something like that, which I think is better.
Yeah,
Because-
yeah, that is better.
Like good writing, I believe, a lot of the time requires a lot of patience.
I think good anything requires patience.
But I think a lot of younger people, you'd say we teach a lot of kids how to get into independent schools and 11 plus and that sort of thing. And what I'd say is they tend to be very focused on getting through things, moving things
They're
quickly.
going through the timeline, through the hoops and
Transition. Yeah.
yeah.
And they struggle a lot with building a world. So actually constructing it.
What I tend to do when I was teaching this sort of stuff, for a story writing exam, I would say to create your characters before the actual exam. And when you're doing your writing, use those characters in every one of your stories, so you kind of know them as people. And then when you go into, you don't have to think about names and characters when you go into an actual exam. It's just
you're
you
creating.
just drop them into their environment and
Creating archetypes.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like that idea, but I guess
That's specifically for exams and not for like
life.
creative writing, life enjoyment, that sort of stuff. There's a couple of scaffolding tasks that we can give as well. So here, openings. You can name the scene and the mood within 2 or 3 lines. It's something a lot of people forget to do.
This is the whole world building thing that I think I've alluded to. A lot of kids struggle to use the right vocabulary because they don't think about the mood that they're trying to create.
I don't think they know. Like,
No.
whenever I'm, especially younger kids, it's like, well, I'm, the world is Sonic world, or the world is Minecraft, or the world is...
Yeah.
It's like, no, these are...
No, yeah, they
These are...
some of them.
This is what I mean, the imagination is not there anymore. It's been replaced by overstimulated other bits.
A lot of kids struggle with... Another thing that young kids tend to struggle with quite a lot is sequencing.
As in, like, order of things happening?
A little bit, but also transitions between things and event. So planning.
Right.
Planning portion. Like they're
no one likes to plan or do working out.
Their story doesn't cohere.
Yeah.
But I'd actually argue that, so we've done some 7 plus prep, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm doing some at the moment.
I think it would be unfair to expect a child of that age to come up with something coherent.
Yeah.
And I think that can be quite limiting to their development.
Explain.
Like imposing order on them so early. So
not given the open freedom to...
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually think writing should be more...
But again, would it not be better to have a mixture? Like, some tasks are more closed off and some tasks are do what you want.
Sometimes
You don't want to get them used to one type of...
Yeah, but at that age, I don't think... I think that can actually impede their writing.
What, having a mixture of open-ended and...
Well, I'd say like the closed-ended stuff.
Yeah, having just one of them will do, yeah. You want the diversity.
It's a hard balance, I think, because if you're preparing them for an exam, you have to teach them that. But I think it can be I think long term, the best writers, like it closes off their potential. When I look at like my writing when I was like 6 or 7, it didn't make any sense. But I was like experimenting, and playing with sentence structures, doing things like that were wrong, say, but they were exploratory and good. And as you get older, you can impose form and structure on it, and it takes more time to get there. But I think by getting them, you can't expect them to, at that age, to have that form and structure. And it also doesn't tell you anything about their writing ability long term.
It's the same with everything, isn't it? There's more. It's like when you're young, you have like loads of different paths and loads of different things you can do and lots of potential, and then you experiment, you learn, then you narrow it down.
Yeah.
It's the same process as that, really. Or anything that you're trying to do. Experiment, fail, experiment, fail, and then learn.
And also, I think if a child's writing anything at that age, that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to celebrate, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's like, I do think spelling should be taught. That is, so as in, because English spelling is so complicated. I think it's actually something that they do need to, write down and repeat. And it is a laborious process.
Yeah. Well, they do that.
But I think they sort of, I believe that they started experimenting with having it completely phonetic for a brief period of time. And then they realized it didn't really work. So, because English isn't so phonetic, it helps you read quickly. So phonics, I think, is good for reading. But in terms of the writing, it actually just gets some spelling things wrong.
Just to finish off, I've had a thought that I didn't really think about when we were planning this episode. What are your thoughts on how people talk nowadays and traditional English spelling, with the number of new random bits of slang that pop up all the time and memes and purposely misspelling things for them to be funnier? Does that surely confuses 7-year-olds?
It probably does, but English is a complex language. The thing is,
the word "okay" was originally a slang word from 1800 or something.
Yeah,
it developed into one of the most commonly used words ever.
Did you know that soccer is actually British English?
No, didn't know that.
It started out as, you'd have to call it association football or soccer, but now Americans call it soccer, and then we went with football. So
football makes more sense than what they play.
It does.
Football.
So language does change. It's just part of the
development,
yeah. But it's like things will fall out of favour, like the M dash, which
they've gone full circle.
Absolutely brilliant form of punctuation that's been ruined by AI because it's everywhere. And people don't like things that are everywhere. I think slang's always existed. It's just part of language. But there's everybody should be aware of informal speech and formal speech.
But do you not think they're getting a bit merged? It's like what smart casual now is not what smart casual was like 40 years ago, for example. It's a similar sort of concept.
Yeah, and sentence structures are the most confusing things because we use fewer and they're less complicated now than they were in the past. I've noticed that students, especially in the, say, GCSE courses, if they've got a really old passage, they actually struggle to understand it. Because
they talk differently now. It's like people say, where did you go for holiday? Oh yeah, I went Turkey. You're missing out a word. So can I go toilet? No, you're missing out a word. Yeah. It's not the same anymore. And I think that is partly what's making writing worse, alongside everything else we've spoken about. So I know we spoke about it last year. To wrap up, I think I probably know your answer. Do you think it's still important? Do you think writing, specifically creative writing, outside of after school, when you're older, and is it still important? Should everybody do it?
Yes, because it'll help you think better, and that's kind of the key. I think Jordan Peterson has said that writing is thinking, and I definitely experienced that when I was at university. There'd be some topic like the Crusades or something like that, like something complicated, and then after writing a paper on it or something like that, I'd understand in depth. I'd get better at it, and I think the way that I speak as well has improved as a result of writing.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I never enjoyed writing tasks at school, especially when they were fiction. Even at uni, my course was all coursework, all design, all creative, practical tasks. I had one writing task a year, and my dissertation was like 1,500 words. It wasn't what you guys did. But yeah, I think the writing is thinking thing is what made me write. The only time I write is journaling, blogs, or writing content and copy for the business.
Yeah, and then you realise its value.
So thanks again for joining us for our 50th episode. If you've been with us for quite a long time, thank you for staying with us. And if you've just joined us, welcome. So next month is our Christmas episode, and we're going to welcome back Andrew. Now, if you saw last year's Christmas episode on Elf, you might know what this film is going to be. I'm not going to tell you now. You can stick around and find out.
It's got to be a cracker.
Yep. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you thought about this conversation. And if you are listening to us on Apple or Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow and a rating. And we'll see you next month for the Christmas episode.
The Education Lounge Podcast.